it is my hope that you don't say, oh, it'll be wonderful to talk with Raj. I get to talk to him once a month. They're having gatherings finally once a month, and I'll get to talk with Raj. Or you can talk to me every minute of the day, in your house, in your car, at work. I hope you're beginning to do that. And then you can stop coming here and make room for those who don't have the guts yet. And maybe for some of you who are doing it, who have learned to allow it, your place will be a place where others can come and learn how not to be afraid. I said maybe, because your function of love in the world can look like being an accountant, or that god-awful job, an attorney, or a policeman, being the Christ on the neighborhood corner, or being the Christ in the middle of a holdup. You see? So don't assume that because this is the way it's appearing with Paul, that this is the way it will appear with all of you. That you will be holding gatherings. You don't know. But your connectedness will find expression in the world in a way that transforms the world by helping the world realize it doesn't have to be in a state of fear. And although Paul hadn't thought about it, he's grateful that these are the kind of circumstances where my expression of the needlessness of fear is manifest, rather than in the middle of a holdup. So, does that answer your question?
Indeed. Thank you very much, Raj.
You are welcome. Was it worth waiting for?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
Hands. In the back row.
Well, I just want to add that I'm grateful for the chance to come here and be myself.
Be
myself here. And I just have a pretty small question about my need to move and find another place to live. And I'm willing to just pay attention, but if you felt it would help to say anything about the particulars, what month I would need to leave, what I should pay attention to, what I should look for.
I tell you what, there's no schedule to keep. There are no details to share with you. You are faced with an adventure of the best kind. And I encourage you to enjoy the process of discovering the way the Father meets your need. Expecting there to be some originality to it. That's delightful.
It will be original. It will be a surprise.
I encourage you to keep that look that's on your face of delightful curiosity.
Yeah.
And move forward with that energy.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. hands.
Okay, here it is.
Just a moment. It takes a moment for it.
Okay, all right. This is it, the $64,000 question? Or whatever it is these days. So, my question is basically, who am I really? Am I this person who is growing, learning, struggling, becoming more aware? Or am I the one mind? And if I'm the one mind, how do I have this experience?
It's very simple. You are, and I believe you'll recognize this, you are neither behind the point of perfection nor advancing towards it. You are at that point and must understand yourself therefrom. You can be struggling to grow if you wish, but that will take time. And you can take time if you wish. There are infinite possibilities available to you. But, and he's not the only one here who's at the point of perfection and not advancing towards it. Every single one of you are at the point of perfection. Every single one of you are, for lack of better words, the sons and daughters of God, and all of you are right now, right here in the middle of the kingdom of heaven, even though you're calling it the world. And either you can do a whole lot of studying and a whole lot of reasoning and a whole lot of thinking and a whole lot of arguing and coming to conclusions and revising your conclusions and etc. Or you can say, if I am the Son of God, if I am the direct expression of God, if I'm the presence of what God is being right here, and if this is the kingdom of heaven and I'm in it, what does it look like? What's the experience of it feel like? And bring your curiosity to bear on it. You know what? Curiosity is very similar to desire. When you're curious, you are expressing a desire to discover something. When you bring desire into play to see what you're not yet seeing and to experience what you're not yet experiencing, again, that's the way you reach beyond the bubble. That's the way you throw your anchor into the unknown, hoping that as it falls onto the unknown, it pulls you into a larger view. So, you can either have an endless stream of incredible breakthroughs as a result of strain and effort and study, or you can say, if I am divine, and if I'm in the middle of the kingdom of heaven now, there's no place to go and nothing to accomplish. I desire, I am curious to have the experience of it. And to heck with all of the hard work, all of the struggle, all of the advancing, all of the overcoming, as satisfying as it is. Is that not what I have been encouraging you and everyone here to do this weekend? The one who's struggling, the one who's trying, again, is that which is absolutely divine, operating under a shadow of ignorance, as though the ignorance were actual. So it is the divine you that seems to be going through this process, but it's not the whole divine you, because this part that's going through the process is the same as all the rest, the infinite rest of you that's already there. All of you is already there, except for this small, circumscribed part that is choosing to operate as though it doesn't know the truth and wants to know the truth. The struggle won't end until the goal is to burst the bubble. And the only way to burst the bubble is to decide not to be alone and to reach out beyond all of your current resources. It's like the picture you were asking about, and my saying, don't get hung up on the picture. You're asking about who is it that's doing the progressing, and I'm saying don't get hung up on who's doing the progressing. In the final analysis, nobody is. And when you wake up, you'll realize that it was all nothing but an illusion. Like what you see in a funhouse of mirrors. There's something real there that's being reflected, but the reflection is a crazy, scary or funny distortion of something that's absolutely perfect. And what you were seeing wasn't real, even though it was a distortion of something real. A distorted experience of something real. I'm glad you asked the question, because it's easy to get trapped. I could say to you, you're never going to wake up. The you that wants to wake up doesn't exist. The you think you are doesn't exist. And that could be very demoralizing and depressing. If I know you're sitting there with a completely false perception of yourself, I could say you don't exist, without saying the you think you are doesn't exist. And then you would end up devaluing yourself. The you who thinks he's growing, developing, waking up gradually, is the divine you experiencing temporary ignorance. And since your experience of yourself is the only experiencing you're having of that divine one that you are, you had better value it, you had better honor it, you had better appreciate it, no matter how much ignorance it seems to be suffering from. Because it's in the act of appreciating and loving yourself right where you are that the opportunity for your current suffering sense of yourself to be infused with the clearer experience of yourself. And yes, it will seem as though you're growing. It will seem as though you're more fully realized today than you were a year ago. And as long as that's all you've got to work with that. Work with the self you're experiencing lovingly and give it the benefit of the doubt. But I'm coming along and I'm saying, do this. Honor yourself right where you are. Appreciate yourself right where you are. Forgive yourself over and over and over and over again for whatever you think you need to be forgiven for, so that you can come back with innocent eyes and look at yourself with self-respect again. I'm saying do that. Do that forever. Be willing to do that forever, endlessly. But I'm also saying you can grasp the idea that at the same time that you're appreciating yourself and loving yourself in this process, there is a specific nut to crack. There is a specific keyhole in which a key needs to be turned, just one key that undoes the whole illusion and does away with any further need for endless progression. And that is exactly what I've been telling you all weekend. What needs to be addressed is this flimsy, insubstantial, almost intangible boundary between the you that is awake but doesn't know it and the whole you that is awake and does know it. And that bubble needs to be popped. And you do it by letting love in, or asking for love, not relying on yourself, but always saying, "Thy will be done." What is the answer? And that's what will break the bubble. You say, "Well, you make it sound so easy, but look, nobody's done it yet." Well, you know what? When it starts happening, it will be like a chain reaction. The fact is, I did do it. I did break the bubble. I broke my bubble, so someone has done it. But you don't have any current examples of the bubble being broken. But that's no reason, now that you know what needs to be addressed, there's no reason not to address it. At the same time that you're honoring the one who's doing his best to grow, and who's doing his best to find that balance point on the wave. and write it without being in control. You see? Can I have the $64,000?
Yes, with inflation, it's gone up quite a bit.
Do you have a yes, but?
My yes, but is almost, should I ask this question? So you can tell me no. I don't need to know the answer. How does mind become ignorant?
I have answered this question before. If you missed it, I'm sorry. I will say it very briefly. I have referred to the state of being awake, the experience of being the Christ consciousness, the experience of having no other mind than God's as your mind and your conscious awareness of everything. I have referred to that as the fourth dimensional conscious experience of being. A fourth dimensional conscious experience of being constitutes a first, second, third, and therefore fourth dimension. I mean to use these terms rather loosely. But the point is that as fourth dimensional conscious being, you have available to you the option to experience any aspect of fourth dimensional conscious experience, whether it's one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, or, you see, any lesser dimension that you choose to explore constitutes a more limited experience of reality. And as I've said before, if one chooses to experience from a lesser dimension, your inherent, natural, irrevocable sanity provides a warning bell, a dissonance, which, when you are awake, you recognize to mean this is not a normal experience for you. Don't stay in it too long. But if you stay in it too long, that warning signal, which does create an experience of dissonance or uneasiness, begins to be something to address. And so instead of interpreting its meaning correctly, you interpret it as a goal you now have to make it go away. And you're, quote, trapped until something can break your preoccupation. As I've said before, this doesn't constitute a sin. It is something that can happen. It's not wrong, it's not bad, although it's hell for the one that gets caught in it. But it doesn't do anything to you, contrary to the way it appears to you at the moment. And it's correctable. And that's what we're doing. Again, the correction can't be forced on you. You have to arrive at the point where the preoccupation with getting rid of the dissonance that says this is not normal to you is no longer worth the effort. You are tired of trying to get rid of it because it doesn't work. And when you arrive at that point, you say help. You reach beyond the bubble that you didn't even know was there. And at that point, the connection can be made with the totality of you that's outside the bubble, with those who are one with you outside the bubble, with God, who is your very being outside the bubble, and penetration can occur that allows you to shift your attention from trying to work things out from within the bubble and address the bubble itself.
Thanks. I'd forgotten.
Indeed. You're welcome. We're going to take our last break and resume shortly. Yesterday, before the gathering started, Paul asked me if I would help him be even more undefended when I am speaking. Help him be more undefended. And in effect, he didn't use these words, but to take him to a new level of connection with me, which I have done. And so I have brought him to a place where he is having to find the balance point and become comfortable with it. And he has done beautifully. But I must pay attention and not push him too far. And as a result, I must say that it's time for the gathering to end, because he's arriving at a point where he could lose the balance point. I am very grateful to him, as I'm sure all the rest of you are as well. And so, I must say sooner than the usual time that I have enjoyed being with all of you. It has been wonderful being together, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. You're welcome. I didn't expect that. And maybe he's right.
Might know.
Just might.